today, our guest is actually somebody that I really, really, really love and respect, Lala Milan. Okay, we want to welcome her to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
No
A little bit
problem.
about Lala, if you don't know, I don't know what's wrong with you. But
I'm
whether
wrong with
it
him.
be her work in comedy, acting, entrepreneurship, or brand collaborations, Lala leaves a footprint in every trailblazing road less traveled path. You may have seen her starring in the popular show Boomerang or TNT's Claws, but now she's gearing up to dominate a new space. This fall, Lala launches her own feminine wellness product, Vagitaminz. Oh wait, let me pronounce this right.
Oh, there you go. It's right here.
Wait, say it for me.
Vagitamins.
Vagitaminz. Give a round of
Yes.
applause for the
Give him
vaginas
a
that
round of
need
applause.
Vagitaminz, everybody. Yes. Okay, I
Yeah.
want to hear all about that. But my first question for all of my guests is always, you could be doing anything in the world. You could be selling the seven seas. You could be um, farming in Alaska, which I don't even know if that's a thing. You could
I don't
be
think
building houses. You could be building tech. You might be doing that. I don't know. You could be, what else you be doing? Growing avocados in Mexico. We don't
so.
know.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why did you decide to start doing content creating in the first place?
Well, it was basically a release for me, right? So I was working and I would always be at my desk and there was just nothing else to do in between time. I could have been doing other things, such as actually making calls and all that like my boss wanted me to do, but that was boring. So I started creating content while at my desk just as an escape, and it was fun for me. It felt good. It felt natural.
Did you ever think it would get this big? I mean, like going from like just creating content there, now you're starring in films, you're creating your own
Mhm.
product, you
Mhm.
have bunches of followers. Like, did you think that it was going to go there?
No, not in my wildest dreams, if I'm being honest. I didn't know that it would pick up at all. Like I really wanted it to, but the actual thought of it happening was like, you know? No.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
That's amazing. So what made you keep going? So like what made you keep doing it?
The possibility of something coming from it, not necessarily all of the success that I've gained, but just the possibility of maybe I could get some extra money for doing something like this. I could get free stuff. Back then, it was such a cool thing to me to get free stuff. I was so excited to be able to get clothes and hair, all kinds of stuff like that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is everything. So that's what made me do it. I really wanted free stuff and extra money. That's all I wanted.
Did you move to LA after you started being known, or
Girl,
did
I
you go?
couldn't afford to move here before. None of that.
Don't do that.
I could
You
come on, I'm dead serious. No, I would have not been able to afford living here in LA without the benefits that came from social media. So I ended up moving here probably like very early on though, when I started getting to those different levels on social media. I will say I didn't come with a lot of money. I came with a little bit of funds and a dream. And I said, if I stay consistent, stuff will happen for me. And eventually it did. I was just constantly producing content, then being on the scene with other people who are in the same industry that I'm in. You tend to meet other people who could potentially give you opportunities and things like that. That's how I was able to connect with my management team, my agent, and also meet other people who's in the same space to be able to give me opportunities. So some of my biggest opportunities came from me directly approaching people and saying, hey, I'm trying to work with you, what's up? So just even being in the space to have access to those people was everything. But long story short, I did not, come here with the intention of failing. So that was that.
There
hey.
you go. One of the things that I think a lot about, and that I'm curious about, is like, when did you know which person that you needed to link with and hire from a hiring standpoint. So like at what point were you like, oh, now it's time for me to get a talent agent? Oh, now it's time for me to get a manager. Or
Soon as
now
I
it's time for me to
came to
build.
LA, soon as I came to LA, I was like,
Mm,
I need all that. I need everything. Okay. I I was making content for a while, and I wasn't I wasn't making the money that people thought. It's one thing when you're known, right? But it's another thing when you're known and you got the money to match the amount of people that know you. Okay. I I was super known. People like, hey, da da da. And I'm like, I want a new car. I need to be able to pay more for rent, stuff like that. So it was one of those things to where as soon as I came, I said, I need people to take me to the next level. So I was immediately in the field talking to people, networking, saying, oh, who you work with? People who I liked the trajectory of their career. I was like, who's on your team? Can you introduce me? Are they taking new clients? Things like that. So soon as I came, I was out the gate looking for people to add to me.
I love that. How did you know when to start charging what? Cause I remember, we were looking for people for BGV, and I was like, "Girl, how much do you charge?" And you was like, "Look, I don't know if you want to go how much I'm charging right now." And I'm like,
Yes.
"Thank you, duly noted. I appreciate your honesty."
Yeah.
But how did
You
you
know,
know when to start charging what?
because I knew the value that I bring, right? So even today, a lot of times I don't even talk numbers with people, because when people feel like they're talking to you directly, they're like, oh, I could get it cheap, things like that, which that used to be the case at one point in time. But once I started getting brand deals and brands were paying me a certain amount of money, I was like, I'm not lowering my price for anybody, anything, especially because certain brands, certain opportunities, you could get thousands and thousands of dollars for showing up and speaking somewhere for 20 minutes. Then people expect you to come out, host a party, promote it, all this extra stuff for 1,500. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if these people are willing to pay me X amount of dollars, I'm no longer about to take this amount of money to do more work and even have to leave the house and stuff. You see what I mean? So it had to make more sense for me. And also, too, seeing the amount of engagement that each post brought when I would do certain things. It was like, dang. Then you also hear people talking how much they make for certain things they do. And it's like, I'm lowballing myself. At what point do you start saying, you know what, I'm worth this much? I'm standing on it 10 toes down. So it was one of those things to where it was multiple things that factor into me choosing my prices before I got my team. Once I got my team, they started deciding, because they had other clients who were under them that were making a certain amount of money for each thing that they did based off of their following. So they helped to alleviate me choosing prices and even having to communicate with people about it, because it'd be uncomfortable.
No, I love
I,
that.
I like that. Like, I
Mm,
really do, because I think that a lot of women, especially women, have an issue with that
yeah.
around, really holding true to what their price is
Mm-hmm.
and really making it known that this is what I'm worth,
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to walk away,
Mm-hmm.
when it's just like, no, I'm not doing
Mm-hmm.
it. So as you think about the team that you got, and where you are right now, would you do you think you made, like, what are some of the mistakes you made along the way, other than pricing, like, some of the mistakes you made,
I'm gonna
you
answer
think you
that
made?
question, but I also want to add something else. I want to say to the people that's listening, whenever you give a price to somebody and you do somebody a favor, people know people that know people. So when you tell somebody, okay, I'll do it this once for 2,500, somebody gonna tell that person, oh, I got Lala to do it for 2,500. Then a lot of people are gonna be coming to you thinking that they're gonna get that same price. So you can't even do favors no more. So you kind of shooting yourself in the foot whenever you lowball yourself one time just for the sake of getting something or even doing somebody a favor. So I had to stop doing that respectfully. Now, Other mistakes that I made along the way, aside from lowballing myself, would be, hmm, that's a good question. I would say not taking risks as fast as I did. Um, this is a this is a career path where you gotta take risks. You gotta be fair. You gotta be fearless. You gotta be fearless, and you gotta jump out there and do everything while you can. So there's certain things where it's like, mm, I was like, you know what? I'm going to revisit that. But when you go to revisit it, the window might be closed. That opportunity might no longer be available. So if it's something that you want to do it right then and there. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off, because you put it off, it's not going to get done. I still battle with that today, but I'm a little bit better. One thing I do now, I go for it for the most part. I might drag my feet a little bit, but I'd be like, I have to do this. It got to get done. But everything else, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I would say it was just a learning experience, because it taught me, to do things.
Lately I've been seeing you like do a little bit of a transition. You can tell me if I'm seeing it right.
All
Right?
right.
Because it was way more like comedy skits and that kind of, you still do those. But
Mhm.
I'm seeing you be a little bit more serious. I'm seeing you like teaching and doing speaking
Mhm.
opportunities and really like actually trying to get people game on
Mhm.
how you got to where you got to. Like
Yes.
was there a point where you're like, okay, this is cool, but my impact
Mhm.
can be greater, that you
Mhm.
are making a conscious decision to do more speaking, or where's tell me your thought process. I was curious.
Okay, so thank you for asking. When it comes to producing content and stuff like that, I still love it. It's fun, and I do it when I feel like it. Back in the day, I fed the people what they wanted. But most people are one dimensional, and they tend to think that that's the same for you too. So early on, I was always just doing funny stuff because I did enjoy it, but also too, I was like, this gets the most engagement. I was an engagement junkie. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I want people to see other sides of me. People would see me and be like, do something funny, say something funny. And it's like, what? Like, go look at my videos. That's what they're there for. I'm a person in real life. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show them everything that I want them to see. You know what I mean? I'm going to show them every part of me that I want to share. I'm educated. I got a degree. Doing this and staying relevant throughout the years is not just from being funny. It's being strategic. It's from being intelligent. And there's a science behind it. And so I'm like, I need to show people that there's more to me than just this, and I noticed that there's so many people who are getting engagements and bookings and things like that, teaching people how to do social media, and they don't really have a following like that. And I'm like, how are you teaching people how to gain, 50,000 followers and you got 20? No hate to them, because it's fire. They created a way and a lane of doing it. But I'm like, you know what? I've done it too. And I want to share what I know as well, because I genuinely did it. Now, granted, my comedy helped to scale it, the talent, of course, but there's so many other things that goes into it that I know about, that I've learned over the years, that I want to share. And also too, because I'm dropping e-courses as well to show people how to do it, because I've always had a thing for just teaching and being in front of people and putting people on game. So I'm like, you know what? I be showing so many people how to do TikTok, how to do Reels, how to do Instagram. Like, a lot of people, my friends, celebrities who's into it. Like, I taught Niecy Nash how to do TikTok, for example, you know,
Oh,
and
okay,
I
wait,
put her
hold that thought.
on.
Hold
Yeah.
that thought. Because we want to learn how to do TikTok too. So
Let's go.
whatever you can share, we'd love to hear it.
Listen, I got my, you know what I got.
Oh, girl,
You see?
stop.
Her and this notebook. I can't. Her
I got my
notebook
notebook.
actually could be a book about the shows we've done
Yes.
at
I'm
this point.
weak. That's good. That's good.
Hey, that's
Hmm.
not a bad idea. You know what,
What?
Takia? We should release a Takia's notebook.
Okay.
I
Memoirs
got
of
Yeah.
the Omi Bell Show.
yes, the only
Yes. I'm telling you, we're gonna do it one day. We're gonna do it. I
y'all two
already
are
got it.
trouble. Y'all two together, trouble, trouble.
I already got it. I got ideas for days. So you were talking about like you taught different people. You were teaching people like kind of behind the scenes, and now you're
Hmm.
like, hey, I might as well bring that out. So you have some e-courses
Right.
coming up. Tell us about that.
So basically, I'm dropping e-courses, teaching people the game, giving people everything they want to know about social media, how they can grow their page organically without having about followers and stuff like that. And small tips and tricks just to go ahead and elevate whether it's your brand or yourself as an individual on Instagram and TikTok.
I love that. So here's the thing. So at Black Girl Ventures, right? We work with
Yes.
TikTok, and we are in a accelerator right now. TikTok has an accelerator,
Mm-hmm.
and it's us and a bunch of brands. Like
Of course.
I was actually surprised to see some of the brands. I can't reveal people because I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'll just
NDA,
say
NDA.
right.
Mm-hmm.
It's major brands in there, and I'm like, wow. One of the things that I learned about TikTok versus Instagram, because people are always like, oh, Instagram gonna go away. Nobody's gonna use it no more. I don't believe that. I want to get your weigh in on that. What you think?
No, Instagram isn't going to go away. They're going to remain relevant, excuse me, because they're taking so many features from other platforms to stay around. So just when you think, oh, okay, TikTok is coming, it's about to steal the shine, Instagram's like, now we got reels. You know what I mean? So they're making sure that they do all of those things. The sad part is Instagram is going downhill, but it's still going to be there, right? So even with TikTok, it's another thing to where everybody's not going to join TikTok because a lot of people still have the misconception that it's a kids app only meant for dancing, not realizing that TikTok is a whole university that teaches you so many things that you should have learned in school, okay? Things, tips and tricks, DIYs, all kinds of stuff. And I get so much ideas off of there. It's crazy, but no, Instagram is here to stay, especially they're merging with other things. Obviously, they merge with Facebook and they're constantly going to do things to stay above water. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if all three of them merge, eventually
Oh wow, that'd
because
be
yeah,
crazy.
they're all one and the same. Granted, they're
I don't,
competitors, but they
yeah,
they're all
TikTok is
still it.
huge though. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Well, one of the things I've learned about there's a couple things. The Instagram algorithm versus the TikTok algorithm. The TikTok algorithm switches over quicker. The Instagram algorithm stays around a little longer. So let's say you shift your likes or you shift what you're looking
Mhm.
at. It would take Instagram a few months to just shift over to that kind of content, whereas
Mhm.
TikTok can do it within a few actions that you take. It'll quickly shift over. The thing about TikTok though is you're creating for the For You page.
Mhm.
Instagram is trying to build where you're creating for people who look at you. Totally different thing. And I think people get confused. What I also realized is that I had to create a whole TikTok strategy by itself, not
Mhm.
a Instagram that's about to roll over to TikTok
Yeah.
strategy.
It's true. It's true. Content that you put on TikTok is totally different from content that's on Instagram. It's one of those things to where TikTok swears by trends. And a lot of times people try to put TikTok content on Instagram. Some of the trends transfer over to Instagram seamlessly. Other ones don't. So people be trying to put the same thing on both of them and they wonder why their TikTok is flourishing, but their Instagram is staying the same because they're two different things. So, with that being said, it's like I always say, look at what's relevant on Instagram and then look at what's relevant on TikTok. And you'll be able to create content that's relevant for both of them to where they'll both grow. But at the end of the day on Instagram, as long as you're continuously putting content on reels, it's going to go crazy. They're taking away engagement from static pictures and stuff.
My dog, I can't. You see how you see that
Sound
gray?
like I'm
This
speaking in
gray,
a whole nother language, don't it?
yes. Like I just one gray right here that
I
popped out
know.
again
I
because
know. It's a lot, but that's the thing. That's why That's why I was like, I gotta do courses, because whereas people think it's just posting, no, like it's a method to this madness. And if you do it right, you can gain, whether it be the followers that you want or the money you want, brand deals, whatever the case may be. Like, it's potential out here when you know how to do it.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is that I'm a little bit of a rebel, so I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. Cause I don't like when I watch the like some of the people you're talking, not you weren't talking about anybody specifically, but like the niche down accounts where they're like,
Mm-hmm.
here's how you do reels, do
Mm-hmm.
this, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, or the person's like on social media, do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know that I want to be that. You know what I mean? Like I like to tell my story. I
You
like
want
to
to be
tell
a
other people's
variety
stories.
page. Be
I
that.
do. But does
And
that
that's fine.
is that niche enough to garner the following in a way that really grows to a higher level of brand deals, that kind of stuff?
Yes, because when you establish what you're giving to people early on, they know what to expect, right? So it's a thing of niche pages, you know exactly what you're getting up front. With a variety page, it's like whatever you post, something may stick for this audience, something else may stick for this audience. But at the end of the day, if you're consistently putting out the content that matches the different types that you do, you'll be good. So you can have more than one niche. A variety page is just simply a page that has multiple niches. You see what I'm saying? So you might be telling your story, you might be telling other people's story, you might be telling people how to gain money, you might be telling people how to get capital on this. But at the end of the day, it all equates to some facet of you. And that's ultimately what people become a fan of. They might not engage with the content, but they like, oh, she does this, that, and that. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, go ahead and do it early on, because people shoot themselves in the foot, like me, giving people one thing. So when you do try to switch it up, they like, you should stick to jokes. You see what I'm saying?
And I was going to ask you about that because a lot of times, like as we switch, as we grow,
Mm-hmm.
as we evolve,
Mm-hmm.
our following sometimes doesn't evolve with us.
They
Like, you know what I
no,
mean? Like
they
they
don't.
want you to stay
They do.
in this one place.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know how you dealt with that. Like how did you deal with the fact that they got so used to you and your amazing, funny videos
Yeah.
that when you started talking about coaching and business
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about that.
Well, the girls that get it, and the ones that don't. You know, I'm
Hello.
not gonna suffocate and stifle my evolution because you want to see me continuously make jokes to appease you. I'm going to still joke, even when I do other things outside of skits, I'm still me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you personality. I make working out entertaining. I make everything that I do entertaining at the end of the day. So one thing that I learned to do is infuse comedy into everything. So that way it can make them comfortable. I don't have to do that, but I do it so that way it's an easier transition for my audience, because I understand that they came for comedy, but understand that there's more to me than just comedy. You see what I'm saying?
What's your degree in? I'm just curious.
Language of arts. So I'm
I love
bilingual in
it.
Spanish. Yeah. So my degree was so that way I could go ahead and be an interpreter. But girl, they still send text messages to my phone talking about $14 an hour interpreter needed. Imagine that.
So that's interesting because have you thought about, or do you think about having whole pages of all Spanish skits?
All the time. All the time. I think of doing Spanish content all the time. And when I go to Spanish speaking countries, I do it. But the problem is I'm constantly thinking of how to incorporate Spanish into my English audience. You know what I mean? So I was thinking maybe I'll do a Spanish word of the day, stuff like that. But I literally have to find a balance between Spanish and comedy at the same time.
What if you okay,
Spanish
look,
and
this
relatable
Takia
comedy.
just said me and you can't be on here talking because let me out. So what if you did different character.
That's good. And I thought about that too, right? But I'm like, okay, then because people are so sensitive nowadays, right?
Yeah,
Next
that's
thing you
true.
know, I do a character and it's like you're making fun of Spanish people, going on stereotypes. So comedy, you can't be raw anymore. So you really got to tread lightly. So I thought of that, but I'm like, okay, how can I cleanly do this without getting canceled by the people?
I know. I know. You know
Okay.
what? What's also so interesting about that is that people wouldn't know,
Mm-hmm.
right, that you actually are trained and actually aware. And that's the hard part, right? Because it's like Spanish people making fun of Spanish people, that's one thing. Black folks making fun of black folks, that's one thing. But when we start going into these different arenas, and then you do actually know.
Girl.
And it's like
Well,
people not even knowing.
something I could say gratefully is that a lot of people do know that I speak it. I've had a couple viral moments where, I went viral for speaking Spanish and stuff like that. So some people do know. And I feel like it will probably just be an argument in the comments of my date ones talking about something. She been speaking Spanish. You must be new here. Like that's always a thing, So potentially I could do it. I'll just have to go ahead and face whatever comes my way. Hell, I could just be making up a whole scenario in my head that's absolutely wrong and people love the character, you know?
That's true because I mean, yeah. Well, when you think about acting, right? I guess
Mhm.
this also broadens the roles you could potentially play
Mhm.
and where you could be in that sense
Mhm.
because just being able to be bilingual.
Listen, I want a Spanish agent so bad. Like I don't have any Spanish influencer friends at all. I don't know where they at. I don't really know who they are. I had my friend to like put me on a couple pages and I reached out to them, but they rock with they people. I'm not mad at it. So I just gotta find some Spanish events, real big events to where I could just pop out and go cause a scene and go meet some people and be like, look, what's up? Let's go get some content going. Cause also too, if I do it with Spanish people, it's like, okay, she good. They not mad, so I'm not mad. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
yeah, I
exactly.
think about that all the time. Spanish content will open the door for so many other opportunities. I'm trying to be on Univision in a telenovela.
Going into acting,
Mm-hmm.
the difference between doing the skits and
Mm-hmm.
like legit acting, and not that the skits are not legit. Let me back up because I don't want to sound like I'm saying that it's not. But I'm just meaning like going from kind of your own scripts and your own skits to now ones that have been written by other people with their own vision in their own mind
Mm-hmm.
of how they wanted to play out. How's the transition been for you? Do you find it easier, harder?
I love it. I love it. Not having to fully flush out skits, having just to show up and play the role is a soft life. And I love it. Okay.
It's the soft life
It's
for
the
me.
soft
It's the
life,
soft life.
honey. All I have to do is show up and execute what somebody else has written, created, things like that. I love it. And I'm a sponge. So I'm always soaking up what someone has for me. Okay, you think I should do it like this way? Cool, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna execute your vision because I understand how important it is when someone has a vision for somebody to execute it how they see fit. I love it. I love always having the opportunity to be taught. I love people being able to trust me with their vision and me coming through for them. So the transition is seamless, girl. It's everything.
I love that. Okay, let's talk about
Hmm.
Vagitaminz.
Let's talk
Okay,
about it.
Oh, I'm ready.
because
Look, I done
I'm
sat
ready
up. Hold on.
too. I need to
Let me
know what
scoot
we doing
forward.
and when am I picking them up? When am I ordering them? What am I doing with them when I get them? I
Yeah,
need to
like
Don't
know
what they
all
worry.
the things.
First of all, I'll send y'all some. So, Vagitaminz, I came up with the name because I'm witty like that. First of all, vaginal
Okay.
vitamins for the vagina. you know so they are boric acid suppositories that regulates the pH balance of your vagina. Okay, and I decided to do that product because women are afraid to talk about vaginal issues, and it's such a negative thing whenever a woman has an issue. When women oftentimes have issues, and it's not because you're a nasty person. It's simply because our bodies really be telling us a lot of stuff through our freaking vagina. Diet, um, not drinking enough water, sex with men, just period. So many different things. Even just having your cycle throws off your pH balance. So I'm like, you know what? Who better than me to talk about vaginal issues when I can make light of the situation and make it easier to discuss? Anytime you infuse comedy into something, it makes it easier for people to digest it. Most of my videos that I do are extremely relatable, and it leaves you go and laugh at first, but then you be like, dang, that's so true. Same thing with Vagitaminz. If I'm like, girl, that cat could use a little bit of cleaning, or girl, go ahead and refresh that pH. It's like, she's so great. She right. Let me go ahead. So I was like, let me go ahead and normalize being a woman, having a vagina, and you might not even necessarily have an issue. It might just be a thing to where you just want to refresh your pH balance and regulate your discharge. Because let's be clear, our discharge be changing all the time. Some women don't even realize that their discharge isn't correct because they haven't seen it be normal for a long time. But when you go ahead and pop a vagina, guess what? Now it's going to be the regular mucusy feel that it's supposed to be. And those kind of things are things that isn't common knowledge. It isn't talked about because guess what? It's embarrassing. But I'm normalizing it to where it's no longer embarrassing. So sis, I got you. What you need? Come on, let's talk coochie.
I love that. I mean,
Woo!
speaking of blowing new lanes open, one,
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, like, I'm so happy when I see you. Like,
Mm.
I'm just like, yes, and just like for the content creators that have just like really worked their ass off,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to get where they are. Like, like, so much respect for that.
Thank you.
Respect for how you dedicate to your craft and your learning and just like want to get it in. I really
Yes.
appreciate it. We're gonna get these vaginas popping.
Yes, girl.
Get
Don't
the
trip.
vaginas popping so your vagina can be popping. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
So,
Get it so fresh and so clean, clean.
hey,
so much trouble here. I told
Listen,
you, the two of you.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. All the baddies, all the bad bomb chicks, all the like banging popular, regular. It don't matter. Girl next door, you should have a bottle in your bag. You know what I'm saying? Pop one in overnight. Yes, it gives you an extra layer of confidence when you know your girl is right. You out
I love
here
that.
doing your thing, child. Do it the right way. You ain't got to worry about nobody doing a finger test and me like, because
Not
that's a
today,
real thing.
Jesus.
That's why y'all laughing because y'all know what I'm talking about.
No,
Men be
I'm laughing at
yes.
that, and I'm laughing at like Takia is way more conservative than I am. So like,
Look, when I said it, she leaned back, but she thinking it. She like she right.
I said, Jesus, on
You
this
ain't got
good
to
Sunday.
look, amen. Because the Lord
amen.
know He created it,
Yes, the
and
Lord
I'm helping
created.
Him to
Amen.
regulate
And
it.
amen again.
Amen. Yes.
Mm,
Okay, listen, we could talk all
mm.
night. All right. We
Yes.
gotta end this show. I just want to say that I really, really appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for sharing who you are. Thank you for sharing all the things that you're working on.
No
We can't wait to
problem.
get engaged with it. The Omi Show, you're Omi homie for life. We're gonna be in it. We're gonna be cheering. Okay. So let people
Yes.
to let us know. All
Of
right.
course. Of course. Sounds good. And thank you so much for having me on. By the way, make sure y'all go ahead and check out my upcoming feature film called The First Noel coming on BET November 10th. It's my first serious role. My first serious role in a feature film. Bloop.
Yay!
Love it.
Yeah. So make
Flexing
sure
on
y'all
them.
check that out, girl. And yeah, get ready for Vagitaminz to come your way, my e-courses. And you can find me everywhere at Lala Milan. Get you some knowledge, get you some cat cleaner, get you some entertainment, whatever you need, I got it.
I love it.
Yes. Thank y'all
Yay.
for listening to the Omi Show. Y'all know where we are every Sunday at noon right here on Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126, where talk empowers and become action. We will see you next Sunday.